Just gone live doing this live stream on my Facebook page. So if you want to, you can go and check it out there. It will be exactly the same. It might be a little bit different because obviously I have like an outline of what I want to talk about, but sometimes then as I go along, things might be, I might get examples and that sort of thing. So it will be similar to what I'm going to talk about today, and that is breaking the cycle of disagreement loops. So I don't know about yourself, but have you ever been in a relationship where you're just having the same argument again and again and again about the same thing and nothing seems to change, and you just seem to get caught up in this loop of, okay, you're arguing about it, you both walk away, and then the next day you're arguing about the same thing. And it's normally because one person is just stuck on something and the other person is, you're both just not, no one is breaking the loop because no one is doing anything differently, basically. So here are some of the reasons people can find themselves stuck in an argument loop. The first reason is wanting to be right. So that person might say to themselves, I need you to agree with me. You know, can't you hear things from my perspective? This is the truth, you know. And because this person, it's their truth, and they believe that this is, you know, the right thing, they're going to continually try to persuade their partner to agree with them. And that can keep you stuck. I've worked with couples where that can keep them stuck because what they believe to be true and what they perceive is the issue, their partner might not agree. So the key thing there is you have to decide, do you want to be right? Or do you, excuse me about my voice, you have to decide, do you want to be right? Or do you want to find some sort of resolution? Thanks for joining, whoever's joining. So wanting to be right, it can keep you stuck in an argument loop. And that's not just with partners, that can also happen with family, because your whole thing is that you want to win. You want to be right. You have to win. You have to get that person to agree with what you're saying. And it's, what's the point in doing that if it means it's going to be the end of the relationship? You know, so you have to think about that. The second reason that people get caught in these bickering loops, you know, where they're constantly arguing about the same thing, is because they need, the one person needs reassurance. So if you've got a, especially if you've got an anxious attachment style, you're arguing usually about things which are to do with your insecurities, and I'll talk about that next because that's another issue that comes up. So say your partner, the issue that you're always arguing about is, hi, I'm NZH, hi, Sankey, okay, so you, okay. So say you are arguing because your partner, you think your partner is looking at another person, so woman or another man, or you're arguing because your partner, you think your partner is going to leave you any minute, or you're arguing because you feel that your partner isn't supportive enough. They can provide you with lots of reassurance. Hi, Donnie. They can provide you with lots of reassurance. They can say, of course I'm not going to leave you. Of course I want to be with you. I'm here, aren't I? You know, well, I would have left by now. They say all that stuff. But if you are not confident within yourself, or if you lack, you've got anxious attachment style, or if you've got certain insecurities that are impacting on you, no amount of reassurance is going to help because it's coming from you. So you've put, you've got insecurity when your boyfriend talks to other boys. How do you deal with that? When your boyfriend talks to other boys, what do you mean in terms of, okay. So I can see, yeah, I'll try to, as I get through, I'll try to, if I can answer your comments, I will. If I can't, I will come back to it as I'm going along. So if you, the reassurance part means that you are trying to get that person to reassure you, but you are not, doesn't matter how much reassurance they give you, it's never going to be enough, because the issue isn't actually what you feel the issue is. It's coming from yourself. It's coming from your anxious attachment style. It's coming from your beliefs. It's coming from your perception, but it's not the truth of the situation. So the only thing you can really do with that is you can question using evidence. Evidence is more powerful than anything else, because you might be thinking about, oh, if this person's looking at someone else. You might be worried that this person's going to leave you. You might be have fears about this person not being attracted to you anymore. But have you got evidence to back any of that up? I always say to when I'm working with a couple and they have those types of fears, well, this person is here right now in your relationship. They haven't left yet. So that's evidence. You know, is there any evidence that this person has cheated? And then the person might even say, well, just because I haven't caught them doesn't mean they haven't cheated. Okay, and that's a valid point. So then you have to say to yourself, can you trust your, okay, what would be the reason that your partner is with you? And then it still comes back down to how you feel about yourself. Because if you're not confident in yourself to say that you have qualities and you have, thanks Kevin, that you are worthy of being in a loving relationship, you're not going to believe it when someone is telling you those things. You're going to think, well, he's going to leave me or she's not really happy with me. So that causes an argument loop because it's the same thing over and over again. Your partner is thinking, how many times do I have to say to you that, should I learn for my German should I learn for my German exam tomorrow? I can't tell you that, George. That's your decision to make. So if if this person is trying to provide reassurance to you, but there's something else going on within you, it's coming from a place of sabotage. You're self-sabotaging the relationship because you know that you don't feel worthy enough in it. So that can cause an argument because your partner is just trying to provide that reassurance. They're providing that safety. They're not looking at other women. They're not interested in other men, you know, but you are, like, because you've got that belief, you're then instigating arguments around that all the time. And I see couples go from, not even just when you're watching these programs, but also, hi, I'm Benjamin, also, in real life, you see this happening. You can see a couple that have compatibility. They look good together. They seem happy. They start off on the right path. And then all of a sudden, these little insecurities creep in. And before you know it, they're arguing about the same thing. And then it just keeps escalating. And before you know it, that's it. The relationship ends. So the third reason is the past insecurities. So I said this in the other video. If you come into a relationship and you've had issues in the past with your exes, you can either talk to your current partner about those issues, and that's up to you because, you know, it doesn't mean that you have to, but that's sometimes what people do. But you can't really put the burden, or you shouldn't really put the burden on your current partner to resolve some of the issues that you've had with your exes, because that's when you get into these loops of you putting pressure on the person that you're with to become something from your past or to do something which has got nothing to do with them. Now, they can provide reassurance to you. You should be basing how they treat you, because that's, you know, boundaries and also how you want to be treated. But it's really hard when they haven't done something. I was in a similar relationship with someone, this was years ago, and they had issues with lots of their exes. I mean, they had like 3 children with 3 different, by the time they'd left me, by the time I'd left them, put it that way, they had 3 different children with 3 different baby mothers. Now, can you imagine the headaches they were getting? They were getting headaches from those, the mothers of their children. They were talking about their exes and stuff. And I always felt that I said to them, I can't be responsible for what your exes have done to you. You just have to judge me based on what I'm doing, because I was doing everything right in this relationship, but I was feeling the heat or getting the backlash because this person had still got issues they hadn't worked on from what their exes had done. So I think this will cause an issue because this will kind of seep into your current relationship, and you'll start to think, well, what's the point in me putting in the best efforts? What's the point in me treating my partner well? What's the point in me doing certain things if it's always going to revert back to past insecurities or revert to past relationships? So they're the reasons that these loops happen. So now let's talk about how we can fix it or how we can manage it or do something about it. So, thank you, Benjamin, for subscribing to my channel. Appreciate it. And you've put Ajash, you subscribed over a year ago. Oh, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, appreciate that. So this is what you can do because you've tried everything, nothing's worked. Here are 3 steps to breaking the cycle. And if you try this, if you're someone that's in this type of relationship where it's just going back and forth, where people are saying, you know, this is toxic, you need to, oh, I forgot another reason. There's another reason that this happens as well, which is you see your partner as competition, you see your partner as the enemy. So I was talking about this the other day with someone. When you're in an argument with someone, even if, or a disagreement, if you care about that person and you love that person, there's certain lines you're not going to cross, there's certain boundaries you're not going to go over, and there's certain ways you're going to speak to them, even when you're angry with them. Because it's not about not getting angry or not getting into an argument, it's about you still have got certain boundaries. But if you kind of see your partner as competition, or you see your partner as the enemy, you think everything they do is against me, you know, I don't trust this person enough, then when you have these arguments, you're going to go too far. And that's why it gets caught up in this loop, because you feel like there's no respect there, there's disrespect. So you can go anywhere, you can say what you want. There's no relationship where you should say something which you know that is going to penetrate so much that after you've made up, that's going to stick with the person. So that's why in some situations, when you're in these argument loops, it's best to take time out and to stop yourself and saying, there's times where I've been in the past, even before I was a counsellor, or even as a counsellor, if I've had issues with family or in relationships, I know that I can be vicious with my tongue. Someone said that to me, you know, you can be really vicious with your tongue. So I will stop myself, because I know that if I go too far, or if I say this one more thing, and I'll let that person say what they want to say. If they want to just go for it and just be really vicious, that's up to them. But I make a decision that I don't do it now because I don't really get into arguments now, but I'll make a decision that I'm not going to say that thing, because the person is probably not going to ever forget that. So you have to just remember that. So these are the 3 steps really that you can take. The first one is to tell your partner exactly what the issue is. Use I statements. So instead of saying you are getting on my nerves, or you don't do this, say I feel. So you start with an I statement, and be specific. Too many people are not good with communication. They're not specific about what the issue is. You know, hi George. So hang on 1 second. So sometimes people will kind of are not good at communicating what the issue is. So they're not always good at kind of being specific and saying, this is what I need from you, or this is what's going wrong in the relationship. So they'll say things like, I need you to show up for me, or I need you to support me, I need help. It's too vague. So what you need to do is to make sure you're specifically asking for what it is you need in the relationship, and being specific about what the issue is. You can sometimes say as well, our relationship has not been the same over the last few months. It could be because we haven't spent time with each other. You know, so you could do, if you do it in a general way, in that way, always bring it back to kind of, so that it's not a blame thing. You're not blaming someone. You're just saying, this is what's not working. So the second part, after you've said what the issue is you need to give your partner time to reflect and to consider what they want to do, the options, and to process. And maybe you need that too. People are scared sometimes. Thanks for the hearts. People are scared sometimes to just separate, because they fear that the person is going to leave them forever, or they fear that the person is going to go off with someone else. Sometimes taking time out doesn't have to be a formal separation. It could just be giving your partner 24 hours. Maybe they go to their parents, or it could be they go for a walk for a few hours. But people are really scared of that for some reason. They're chasing their partner around the house. We need to talk. They're phoning them, you know, and ringing them, even though they know this person has said they need space. All that does is pushes that person away. But you also have to be mindful. If they come back too soon, when they haven't had space to process, they will normally just agree with you just to get you off their back. And the problem with that is, if they, hi, I'm Super the chef. If they do that, all that means is that they're just agreeing with you because it like kind of keeps you quiet. But you're not really getting what they really want to do, and that will come up later in your relationship. Guaranteed it will, because if someone feels resentment, say they say, I'm spending a weekend apart, I need time to think, and you force that person or you keep bothering them to come back early because you're feeling insecure, because you're feeling that you miss them, they'll come back, but they'll have resentment and they'll just tell you what you want to hear, but later on they'll somehow it will impact. So you need to give yourself and the other person time to reflect, time to consider the options, what they want to do, and then time to process what's been said. And the final part is decide what you're going to do, decide what action you're going to take as a couple, or maybe allow your partner to come back and say this is what action they're going to take. So what you've done is, because you've been clear on what it is that the issue is, you've been clear on how you feel, so you've used I statements, you've then allowed your partner space to process what you've said, you've allowed yourself time to reflect on what the argument was about, and then you've both come back together and made a decision of what action you're going to take. That it can't really go wrong with that, because it's very structured in that way. So then you won't get caught up in this just arguing and arguing for hours and hours. Oh, thank you, Zedjko, I think. You won't have these hours and hours. You know, sometimes when people say, oh, we've been arguing on and off for 3 hours, I'm like, wow. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it, because I just think, but it comes from some of the things I've said before. You want to be right. You want your partner to acknowledge that you're right. You want, you see your partner as the enemy. So it's like, I've got to win this battle. So you're just going at it. You need reassurance, and your partner's giving you reassurance, but it's not enough. You're taking baggage from the past into the relationship. So if you're arguing on those bases, then nothing is going to cure that, because it's just going to be a recurring theme that never ends. Whereas if you say, I'm just going to say what the issue is I need you to take the children to and from school, because I can't do that when I'm working from home and I've got all these responsibilities. That is clear. Your partner can then say, okay, yes, I can do that, or no, I can't. If you then say, right, we keep arguing, I'm going to have a bit of patience, a bit of time, I think we need time apart, or do you need some space or time? And if you do, I'll allow you that time. And then if you come back together and then you so this is the action we're going to take as a couple moving forward. We are going to date each other, go on dates once a week. As a couple, we're going to sit down and have weekly reviews. This is something when I'm working with couples. Oh, thank you, AJ. Thank you for the support. When I'm working with couples, but even with individuals, we do things like communication agreements. We work on an agreement where they both can agree on that how you're going to communicate. But when you're having an argument, what are you going to do or agree to do? It might be you're going to agree that when your partner leaves, you're not going to chase after them. It might be that you agree when you're having a communication issue that you're going to look at both arguments and then you're going to come to a compromise in the middle. So it's things like that. It's trying to find solutions rather than problems. Everyone argues. There's no couple. I know that some couples on social media say we've been together 15 years, we've never had an argument. I mean, you know, I'm not saying that they're not being truthful. They probably are. I don't think there's anything wrong with healthy arguments or healthy, I'll call it disagreements, because as two human beings coming together, you've come from different backgrounds, you've had different experiences, you're not going to agree on everything. But it's how you resolve that is the biggest thing. And that's why if you tell your partner clearly what you need or what the issue is, if you allow your partner time to reflect, to process and to make a decision, and if you then come back together and you make a decision and decide what you're going to do moving forward. So you're not saying what you're going to do about something that happened 2 years ago. You're not saying what you're going to do about the fact that all of your exes have cheated on you. You're saying what you're going to do moving forward as a couple. You know, so if you do that, you can probably start to then build and have a healthier, stronger relationship. The other thing just to end on is, if you can as well, try to stay in the present and try to focus on evidence that supports whether the relationship is a good one or not so good one. And what I mean by that is, People are always looking for other things external, they're looking for things from the past, but what about looking at your relationship right now, where it is? If the evidence is that every day your partner turns up for you because they do something that you've asked, or every day your partner tells you how they love you, every day you're getting support from your partner because the fact is they don't talk badly behind your back. You don't hear anyone saying to you, your partner has been, saying all these things about you. They're there from morning till night. They're helping you with the children. If all that is happening, that's your evidence. When your mind is going off into another path saying, oh, what if he doesn't care about me anymore? Or what if she's cheating on me? Or what if, oh, what about all these likes that they've put on social media? None of that is relevant to what's going on right now in the relationship of the two of you. And the evidence is what's working. So thanks for watching. Thank you, Zako. I can't pronounce all these names. Aja, I think it's Ajak. Super the chef, and everyone else that joined on this live stream. I really appreciate it. As I've said, my live streams are probably going to be on Tuesdays instead of Mondays, but I really appreciate everyone that subscribes as well. I really do appreciate your support. And someone's put, can I have some money? What's going on here? What I've noticed with these live streams sometimes is, obviously it's a counselling channel and I'm doing a counselling topic, so sometimes when people are putting things in the comments, you said I look rich, can I have money? I'm not even going to reply to that. But anyway, this is a counselling channel. So if you really are interested in the topics, which most people are, then thank you for joining. But if it's just comments, then I can't really help. And it's just, I don't know. I don't understand. Thanks for everyone for joining, and I'll speak to you all soon. Have a great week. Okay. Bye. Thanks, Arlo. Bye.